A warm welcome to all our viewers. I'm your host Pratiksha Mishra and you're watching another episode of South Asia Focus. Let's begin the show. India and the Central Asian nations are forging a dynamic new roadmap, transforming an old cultural ties into a vibrant, forward-looking partnership. Recently, in the heart of New Delhi, the 4th India-Central Asia Dialogue took place, showcasing deepening trust, shared ambitions and regional unity. Rooted in India's extended neighbourhood vision, this dialogue marks a crucial milestone in redefining India's strategic role at the crossroads of Eurasia.
India and Central Asia, bound by centuries of civilizational exchange and enduring cultural ties, are forging a modern partnership grounded in shared strategic interests. That spirit came alive in New Delhi as External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar inaugurated the 4th India-Central Asia Dialogue, reaffirming India's steadfast commitment to deepening engagement with this vital region. Positioned as a cornerstone of India's extended neighbourhood policy, the dialogue served as a vital diplomatic platform to strengthen cooperation across a region rich in resources and strategic potential.
India deeply cherishes its millennia-old civilizational and cultural ties with Central Asia. These age-old bonds, forged through trade, exchange of ideas, and people-to-people contacts, have strengthened over time, evolving into a partnership which is defined by shared aspirations, shared opportunities, and common challenges.
In a vibrant display of diplomacy and shared vision, Prime Minister Narendra Modi met the foreign ministers of Kazakhstan, Kyrgyz Republic, Tajikistan, Turkmenistan and Uzbekistan following the 4th India-Central Asia Dialogue. With a forward-looking talks, the leaders started a course for deeper collaboration touching on trade, energy, security and cutting-edge technologies. Earlier, the ministers also came together with Indian business leaders at the Indian Central Asia Business Council, strengthening economic bridges and spotlighting trade and investment as key engines of regional growth. This high-level engagement signals more than just diplomacy. It's a step towards a dynamic, interconnected future where India and Central Asia grow together as strategic partners in progress.
Kazakhstan is well positioned to boost up natural synergies with India in trade, connectivity, critical mineral dialogue, energy security, digital sector, and humanitarian ties. India is currently the fastest growing economic powerhouse, and according to some experts, very soon your country can become the 3rd largest economy of the world. Kazakhstan is ready to be a reliable long-term partner for India in achieving its ambitious goal under the Viksit Bharat program by increasing supplies of strategic energy resources, steel and metals, rare earth minerals, food and agricultural products.
India's Central Asia Business Council meet not only showcased strategic alignment but also brought renewed focus to innovation and future-ready collaboration. The foreign ministers emphasized the growing relevance of the India's Central Asia Business Council, urging its expansion into high-impact domains like artificial intelligence, digital technologies, and knowledge exchange platforms, areas where India is fast emerging as a global leader.
We attach great importance to the activities of the Central Asia-India Business Council. The experience and framework established under this council must now be actively utilized and expanded. We would like to initiate systematic collaboration in high technologies, artificial intelligence, and explore India's experience in building digital platforms.
The joint potential of India and Central Asia countries is not only an opportunity for mutual growth, but also the prospect of establishing a new hub for sustainable development and global power in the 21st century.
India and the Central Asian nations are not just revisiting their historical ties, they are reimagining them for a future driven by innovation, connectivity, and shared prosperity. From minerals to markets, from digital platforms to green energy, the contours of this partnership are expanding with ambition and purpose. At the crossroads of geography and strategy, India-Central Asia dialogue marks a pivotal stride in India's growing presence in Eurasia, anchored in mutual trust, cultural kinship, and a collective commitment to shaping a more inclusive, stable, and a prosperous region.
India and Australia reinforcing their strategic partnership with defence and regional security taking centre stage. At a high-level meeting in New Delhi, both nations reaffirmed their commitment to counter-terrorism and maritime cooperation. As regional tensions grow, leaders emphasized the importance of a strong, rules-based Indo-Pacific. With plans to expand collaboration across defence, intelligence and industry, the India-Australia alliance is poised to play a pivotal role in shaping regional stability and global security dynamics.
India and Australia continue to deepen their comprehensive bilateral relationship grounded in shared democratic values, strategic alignment, and robust people-to-people connections. Over the years, their partnership has grown significantly across sectors including trade, education, climate action, and especially defense. In a high-level bilateral meeting held in New Delhi on Wednesday, Indian Defence Minister Rajnath Singh and Australian Deputy Prime Minister and Defence Minister Richard Marles reaffirmed their strong defence ties and reiterated their shared commitment to countering terrorism.
We want to make clear that Australia stands with India and all countries in combating terrorism. We acknowledge and we welcome the stoppage in military activity. We see this as an act of Indian leadership. But we will continue to work with India as we combat terrorism in all its forms.
As regional security dynamics evolve, India and Australia are looking to build a stronger and more resilient defence partnership. The Australian Defence Minister emphasised the need to deepen bilateral defence cooperation through strategic initiatives. He outlined Australia's intent to pursue an ambitious roadmap for maritime security and defence collaboration.
We want to be ambitious in relation to the Joint Declaration of Defence and Security. We'd like to be ambitious in respect of the Maritime Security and Cooperation Roadmap. We see both of those as being two really critical steps forward in elevating the defence relationship even further, and there's more that we will be able to talk about across a range of areas: defence industry, intelligence sharing, how we are working together within the Indian Ocean region, and we look forward to the conversation today in respect of that.
With regional tensions on the rise, defence cooperation between like-minded nations has become increasingly crucial. Indian Defence Minister Rajnath Singh acknowledged Australia's support during a time of heightened security challenges for India. He also underscored the importance of mutual cooperation amid regional tensions.
This meeting is happening at a time when India is facing extreme challenges at our western border, and we have taken steps in response to barbaric incident in Kashmir. We thank Australia for its support on this issue.
The bilateral talks mark another significant step forward in the India-Australia strategic partnership, especially in defence and security cooperation. Both countries continue to emphasize a shared vision for a free, open, and rule-based Indo-Pacific region.
Time now for Asia This Week, the stories from across the continent.
More than 240 people were killed when an Air India plane bound for London crashed moments after taking off from the city of Ahmedabad on Thursday, in the world's worst aviation disaster in a decade. The Boeing 7878 Dreamliner, with 242 people on board, which was headed for Gatwick Airport south of the British capital, had only one survivor after it crashed onto a medical college hostel during lunch hour. Australia's Minister of Defence Richard Marles met with Sri Lankan President Anura Kumara Dissanayake for talks in the capital Colombo. During his visit, Marles also held discussions with his Sri Lankan counterpart. The visit aimed to further strengthen bilateral cooperation and enhance collaboration in the defence sector between the two countries, according to Sri Lanka's official government news portal. North Korean leader Kim Jong-un said in a message to Russian President Vladimir Putin that his country will always stand with Moscow. In a message for Russia Day, a patriotic holiday celebrating Russia's independence, Kim called Putin his dearest friend and praised their bilateral relation as a genuine relationship between comrades in arms. Iran's nuclear chief Mohammad Islami said that the International Atomic Energy report on the country's nuclear program was a blatant lie. The IAEA said last month that Iran carried out secret nuclear activities with material not declared to the UN nuclear watchdog at 3 locations that have long been under investigation.
Moving on. Pakistan is once again prioritizing military expenditure over basic needs. In the latest federal budget, the Shehbaz Sharif government has substantially increased defence spending despite soaring inflation, rising debt and millions of people grappling with higher living costs. While the government highlights its military successes, the average Pakistani sees little improvement.
Pakistan's latest federal budget has once again revealed the state's skewed priorities. At a time when the nation faces economic turmoil and public hardship, the government has chosen to significantly hike defense spending. In a move that reflects its growing military obsession, the Pakistani government has ramped up defense spending by a staggering 20% for the fiscal year 2025-26. Pakistan's Finance Minister Mohammad Aurangzeb, while presenting the federal budget on June 10, confirmed the allocation of 2.55 trillion rupees, that is $9 billion to the defense sector.
मुल्की दफा हुकूमत की अहम तरीन तरजीह है इस कौमी फर्ज के लिए 2,550 अरब रुपए फराहम किया जाएंगे.
The announcement comes just weeks after a deadly terrorist attack in Jammu and Kashmir's Pahalgam that was linked to Pakistan-based terror outfit Lashkar-e-Taiba. Instead of investing in development, Islamabad appears to be celebrating the conflict by bolstering its military machinery, even as it slashes overall federal expenditure by 7%, setting it at 17.57 trillion rupees. While a modest 10% increase in salaries for government employees and 7% hike in pensions have been proposed, citizens and experts alike say that the relief measures are cosmetic in the face of rampant inflation and utility taxes.
जनाब स्पीकर, अब मैं रिलीफ इक़दामात की तरफ आता हूँ. तनख्वाहदार तबके के लिए टैक्स में कमी के साथ साथ हुकूमत ने अपनी माली मुश्किलात के बावजूद सरकारी मुलाजमीन के लिए रिलीफ इक़दामात का फैसला किया है, जिनकी तफसील ये है. वफाकी हुकूमत के तमाम मुलाजमीन ग्रेड 1 ता 22 की तनख्वाह में 10% इजाफा तजवीज़ किया जा रहा है. रिटायर्ड मुलाजमीन की पेंशन में 7% इजाफे की तजवीज़ है.
बजट में सबसे ज़्यादा रखा है सलामती के लिए, पाकिस्तान का आर्मी के लिए वो बहुत ज़्यादा रखा है. डिफेंस के लिए ना बहुत ज़्यादा बजट रखा है. उसको थोड़ा कम कर लेता था, उस पर कम करके चलो दूसरा उसमें दे देता. जो 15% होता है 20% समझ में आता था. 10% तो मैं कहता हूँ ये पहली दफ़ा है कि 32 साल का मैंने तजुर्बा में ये एक तमाशा है.
The economic crisis is deepening. Pakistan's total debt has ballooned to 76,000 billion rupees, with over 51,500 billion rupees borrowed domestically and the rest from external sources. Inflation is projected at 7.5%, with GDP growth optimistically pegged at 4.2%, though the current year saw only 2.7% growth. As the government touts tax relief for salaried classes, ordinary citizens remain unconvinced. High electricity bills, unchecked inflation, and a tax-heavy system have left many struggling.
असल जो है वो केएससी के जो है उसके अंदर जो टैक्स वगैरह आ रहा है तो वो जो है ना मतलब उसकी वजह से जो महंगाई फिर उसी जगह पे खड़ी रह जाती है तो कंज्यूमर आइटम पे तो कमी हो रही है लेकिन केएससी के अंदर जो टैक्स लगाए गए हैं जो केएससी के जो रेट जो बढ़ रहे हैं जो पर यूनिट तो वो जो सारा जो बेनिफिट था वो वहाँ पे सारा डाइल्यूट हो जाता है और वो जो है असल अवाम तक जो है उसका जो है बेनिफिट नहीं मिल पाता तो हमारी हुकूमत से रिक्वेस्ट है कि केएससी के अंदर जो टैक्स लगाए जा रहे हैं उसमें कुछ कमी करें और साथ ही साथ जो पर यूनिट जो चार्जेस है जो रेट है उसका केएससी का उसको भी कम किया जाए तो ये है कि आवाम को काफ़ी इससे रिलीफ मिलेगा.
Even business leaders have little hope. Many see the budget as a product of strict International Monetary Fund conditions, one that favors fiscal discipline over public welfare. Critics say the budget fails where it matters most, in boosting exports and stimulating real economic growth.
आज का जो बजट है वो अवाम दोस्त बजट नहीं है. ये आज का जो बजट है ये ताजिर दोस्त बजट नहीं है. इसके अंदर जो क्लॉसेस रखे गए हैं, शिकें रखी गई हैं, जो अब तक जो हमने पढ़ा है वो इतनी हमें मायूसी हुई है, यूँ कह सकता हूँ मैं, क्योंकि इसके अंदर एक्सपोर्ट के लिए कुछ नहीं रखा गया. जो इस मुल्क में तरक्की की एक ही रास्ता है और वो एक्सपोर्ट.
With skyrocketing debt, rising defense costs, and negligible support for struggling households and exporters, Pakistan's latest budget appears more like a political stunt than an economic strategy. While Islamabad continues to play the victim card on global platforms, its real victims remain its own citizens, crushed under policies that prioritize weapons over welfare.
As Prime Minister Narendra Modi prepares to attend the G7 summit in Canada, the spotlight is firmly on the future of India-Canada relations. Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney's diplomatic push signals a possible reset, but domestic protest and long-standing tensions over the Khalistan issue present real hurdles. Still, with India's growing global influence, many believe this is Canada's moment to realign and re-engage. Take a look.
As Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi prepares to visit Canada for the G7 summit, diplomatic observers say this could mark a pivotal moment in India-Canada relations, a relationship long strained by political tensions, particularly around the Khalistan issue. Mark Carney, Canadian Prime Minister, is seen as a key player in the potential reboot of bilateral ties. His forthcoming talks with PM Modi signal renewed interest in expanding trade, strategic dialogue, and collaboration.
It'll be interesting to hear the conversation and what comes of that meeting between Mark Carney and Modi to be able to kind of develop some trading relationships, develop some positive outcomes for both countries. And this right now, what we see here in late June, this is the moment. And however this goes is how it's going to dictate the relationship moving forward. If it goes well, India and Canada will come closer together all of a sudden. And it might be a long game for Prime Minister Modi to get everything he wants. And it's going to be a long game for Mark Carney to get everything he wants. But this is going to be the start of that relationship. And if that first meeting goes well, this will be a positive moment for both countries moving forward.
Carney's approach toward India signals a shift from cautious diplomacy to strategic engagement. His campaign rhetoric had already indicated a desire to reset Canada-India relations, recognizing India's growing role on the global stage. Now, with India recently surpassing economic milestones to become the world's fourth largest economy, that reset is more urgent and more politically significant.
Well, I think Mr. Carney, when he was running during the campaign, he had already said that he wanted to reset Canada-India relations. I think at that time, India hadn't graduated to the fourth place. And so he already saw the importance and significance of the country on the international stage. And I think that now that India has moved to the fourth place, that only probably encouraged him more. As well, I think that other partners in the G7 may have spoken to Mr. Carney and said, right or wrong, India may have some issues with you, but we shouldn't ignore India in the long run and deal with your issues in the way you can. I mean, that's how leaders do that sometimes.
Any reset, however, faces immediate challenges. Several Sikh separatist groups are already protesting the Canadian government's invitation to Prime Minister Modi. These groups cite human rights concerns and continue to raise the controversial demand for a separate Khalistan state, something India considers a direct threat to its sovereignty. The protests may be part of Canada's democratic landscape, but they risk complicating diplomatic efforts. Experts warn, while these groups have little real impact on India's internal politics, they continue to tarnish Canada's global image.
We've already been damaged hugely by these elements, and they continue to do damage to Canada's image in the world. Canada's political parties have allowed these elements to seep into them. And in fact, the former Prime Minister Harper spoke some days ago saying, just like we would not entertain anyone that wants to separate Quebec from Canada within the parties that want to govern Canada as a country, similarly, we shouldn't be allowing elements into our political parties that want to dismember friendly countries.
For Canada, the visit by Prime Minister Modi is more than a diplomatic engagement. It's a strategic opportunity. With its expanding influence in trade, technology, and geopolitics, India offers Canada a vital partnership for the future. Rebuilding trust with New Delhi is not just about resolving past grievances. It's about recognizing India's role as a democratic powerhouse and a key ally in a shifting world.
As the world watches, India and Canada face a pivotal moment in their partnership. And with that, we come to the end of this week's episode. See you next week. Till then, goodbye and take care.